Hi, I'm Peggy Farren. Welcome to the Understand Photography Show, where we talk about travel and nature photography. If you're not comfortable shooting in the manual setting, remember we have a live and interactive online class called the 4 Weeks to Proficiency in Photography. And I teach it live, but it's also recorded, so if you miss it, you can watch the recording, or if you just want to go back and review something, you can watch the recording. You get to keep this class for life once you sign up, but I'll tell you one of the best things about the class. The average online class has a 13% completion rate, meaning people buy classes and they don't take it. They just don't do it. Well, for us, you are going to have homework every day in this class. And you're going to have a reminder every day to do your homework, and then you're going to turn your homework into me. So you're going to do the class. We have a very high completion rate. I don't remember what it is right now, but it was 60–70% last time I checked, so it was a very high completion rate. You're going to learn how to shoot in the manual setting. You're going to learn all about composition, so you're going to start winning at the photography competitions. You're going to start selling your work. You're going to learn all about flash. I love flash. I love natural light too, but you need to learn flash as a photographer. And then all the technical stuff like metering and all that kind of stuff is in this class as well. We have a free 45-minute webinar that you can, the link is going to be in our show notes on understandphotography.com. Watch the free webinar and you'll get an idea of my teaching style. See if you like the class. If you like the webinar, you'll like the class, okay? All that information will be on our website, understandphotography.com. So today my guest is Gary Farber of Hunt's Photo and Video. I've met Gary, I don't know, a few years ago, because Gary is on the trade show circuit, let's just say. So he's at every convention you go to, and his store, Hunt's Photo Video, is amazing. So we're going to talk a lot about that and about trends in the photography business. So welcome, Gary.
Welcome. Thank you for having me on the show.
And we are actually recording this. This is not a live show this time because we're at the Florida Camera
Club Council.
It's hard to say. Florida Camera Club Council Conference.
Or abbreviation FCCC.
FCCC.
Yes.
And actually their website is f3c.org. And actually the convention is finished. We're just packing up to leave after this. But next year, I know it's in March, I don't remember the exact dates. Next year we're going to have, or f3c.org is going to have a similar convention right here in Fort Myers, Florida. So anyway, tell us a little bit about Hunt's. Now Hunt's didn't start off as a camera store, right?
No, Hunt's actually started off as a drugstore, and we in a pharmacy, and Hunt's was established in 1889.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, yes, and it's just gone from the trend, and it's gone from generation to generation as a family-owned business, and somehow with the competitions that we've been able to keep up with the times and then changing times and be able to change with and adapt to from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, etc., and been able just to keep up with times and change with the times.
Yeah, because all the other camera stores are going out of business, right?
Yes, a lot of the camera stores, unfortunately, have gone out of business. Some, I believe, the good ones have been able to have been able to multitask and think outside the box. Are the ones that have been able to survive. A lot of the camera stores that just focus on processing and lab and in frames and stuff like that, and that's all they weren't able to change. A lot of those just went out of business.
Well, you know, I live in Naples, Florida,
yeah.
which is not a big city, but we have a lot of tourists. So I get calls all the time. You know, where's the camera store? I can't find the camera store here. I'm like, we don't have a camera store. And I'm like, they're like, you don't have a camera store? I'm like, we're not New York City, okay? We're Naples, Florida.
As you bring up the local and not having a local camera store, as I do shows all around the country, one of the biggest things that in my selling pitch to people around the country, I always tell them, support your local camera store. If your local store does not have it, then call Hunt's. But I'm always the first one to say, as business I am, support your local camera store.
That's so nice.
In this stage and age, it's a very, very important thing to do, and especially if you go into if a salesperson is nice to you and you're going into a camera store and they're helping you out, you should buy from them. Even if you have to pay the sales tax, you should support them, because if you don't support them, they're not going to be around. And for me, having someone I can talk to and having a relationship, someone takes care of me, means more to me than just going online to save 50 or 100. Or,
Now
yeah.
you have actual stores too.
Yep, we started.
And where are they?
We have a store in Cambridge, Mass. Pretty much all over New England.
Okay.
From Maine, New Hampshire, Providence, Rhode Island, to the only state that we do not have a store in right now is Vermont and Connecticut.
It's too cold over there.
But we started off with one camera store, and in the last 10 years we branched out and now have 8 camera stores.
Wow.
Yep.
While everybody else is shutting down their businesses. That blows my mind. Now, part of your strategy is to do the trade shows, right?
Yep. The trade show has been a big part of Hunt's business, and that's for us. That's what's gotten Hunt's national known around the country and gotten to know me as well by a first name basis. Usually when
everybody knows you.
Usually when I do a show, it's in the habit. I feel humble and cautious. People do that, but they go to the show and they say, I buy from Gary. They don't say Hunt's Photo. They say, I buy from Gary.
Yeah, and everybody calls you Gary Hunt.
right.
But now, Hunt's was the original owner, but was it your grandfather or something?
I don't know the exact strategy,
like
but it's
some
my
great-grandfather bought it, and
yes.
his last name was Farber.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's your name, Farber.
But we've built up over the last 10 years. We have to be diversified, and we built up a whole different type of business, and to offset. You can't just survive today just doing the retail business. It's lovely. You want to do it. If all you care about is if all you focus on retail, you're probably not going to make it in this stage.
And they're not making it.
Correct.
I mean, Wolf cameras, Ritz camera, they're all gone, right?
So now we sell on eBay. We have an eBay department. We sell on eBay. We sell on. We're a fulfillment for Amazon. We sell to schools. We've also built in the last 5 years. We built a law enforcement department. So we sell to police departments all over the country.
So who's the brainiac who thinks of this? Is that you? Who thinks of all these ideas?
Probably it's me a little. I got to take some credit for it, but it's also my brother, Scott.
You two run the business together, right?
We two run the business together, yes. And then my CEO, Rich Yargin, who came in the background of, I'm sure maybe you heard of it, but back in the day they were very popular, Leachman Sales. I don't know, but they were popular back in New England. They were. So he was involved, and then we have a young person named Mike Mitchell who runs the whole in charge of all the satellite stores and things like that.
Wow.
So we really, between us, we all have our strength, and we all know our strengths, we all know our weaknesses, and we all, pretty much for the most part, we sometimes bump heads, but for the most part, we let everybody work on their strengths and don't get in the way of other people, and let everybody do their own strengths and do what they know best.
That's awesome. All right, let's get off the Hunt's commercial. Even though it is interesting, I'll tell you. Okay, so you grew up from this big in the photography industry, right? So you have done it, and you're a young guy, right?
Right.
But what differences? Just let's say the last 15 years, what differences have you seen in the photography industry in general?
I think I've seen the explosion of digital in the last 15 years.
That's right.
Was a huge thing. Most people, back in the day with film cameras were a big thing, and I saw the trend of people buying. Went from point and shoot cameras or film cameras to the SLRs of film cameras, and gradually that stuff went away, and then it went to the digital point and shoot cameras, and then that pretty much went away, and then it went to small little digital, compact point and shoot cameras, and then it actually went to like D300s, SLR cameras, and now to the higher end cameras. So it's been there's no film anymore, right? Does anybody buy a film camera anymore ever? No, not really. But
do you even sell? You don't sell them, do you?
We sell a little film cameras, and we actually do sell some. We do actually still stock film in the store because we have to, because we can't abandon that market. And to tell you the truth, actually, in the last 6 months, we've seen a little bit of the film coming back in this industry, and it's coming back with the the art people and the college and so that we've seen a big expansion on film.
My niece, she went to a very fancy school, high school in Georgia, and they required them to buy a film camera for the camera. She was a senior in high school, and she was required to buy a film camera.
Yeah.
And my sister, and you have to order it, and it was expensive, you know, all this stuff.
Right.
But that's what they did there. Only film.
Actually, the colleges, you know, you get when they go back, the kids go back to school. They have the list of recommended stuff that colleges, the professors recommend, and because they bring that list into us when they back to school. What the hunts of what they need to try X36, print file, all this stuff. But when they print it in, film is actually still a requirement that the professors actually tell the students they have to buy. So there is somewhat a degree of
still there a little bit.
Yeah.
I know in our area, there's no place to get your film processed. You have to mail it away. We don't have any labs that process film anywhere in Southwest Florida that I know of anyway. So, all right, so what did you mean by the death of point and shoots? What happened to the point and shoots? We all know, don't we?
They just, I did think the best point and shoots just went away. And stuff
Cell phones, right?
Cell phones, iPhones, that was a big thing.
Now, do you sell? You don't sell phones, do you?
We don't sell phones, but we do sell. We do sell a lot. You can now buy a lot of accessories for iPhones, like lenses and little things like that. You can certainly buy that type of stuff for that.
Actually, now that you said that, somebody came in. Somebody I met had a. It was a big lens that it like clipped onto the side of the iPhone, and it was like a $240 lens. I don't know. I can't remember how wide it was a zoom. I don't even remember. But I was like, wow, that's a big lens on the iPhone. I've only seen those little ones, I've never saw
the iPhones are definitely taking a stab into the photo industry. I don't know the exact figure, but I think I heard last year that the SLR camera business last year was down 46% over the year before.
For digital SLRs, we're down 40-something percent in sales from 1 year?
From 1 year, yes. Yeah.
Oh, that blows my mind. Is it because of cell phones, or is it because of the mirrorless, though?
It's because of a lot. It has to do with because of the iPhones. I don't know if I'm sure people today, a couple of things that's been a factor is usually when you go on back in the day, you went on vacation, you went on a cruise, you went somewhere like that, everybody had a camera today. And now if you ever go on a cruise and you look around, there's probably like 10, 20 cameras. All the rest have their iPhones.
Good point.
Another example, you go to baseball games, you go to basketball games, your kids are playing hockey, so that they used to, we used to see them come in the store and say, I'm going on vacation, my kids just started playing basketball, I need a camera to shoot them. Now you go out and all the parents are using iPhones. They're not using cameras anymore.
Good point.
So between those two things, you can see why the industry is down.
Wow. But what about the thing that I see, and maybe I haven't studied it, this is just a wild guess.
Right.
But it seems like there's a lot more hobbyists who are buying big cameras than there were before.
Digital has definitely, but with the digital age, has definitely brought in new photography. People today that wouldn't do photography before because it's so easy to pick up a camera and do digital today because it's quick away. So that's been that has definitely helped in improving sales and stuff like that. But
now you also offer classes at Hunts, don't you?
We do. In the last couple of years, last 3 years, we started offering classes at Hunts Photo. It was going so well that we hired someone full-time, dedicated now, just to do education classes and things like that. And,
it's the perfect place. I have a friend in Orlando. She runs the Harmon School of Photography, and Harmon's is a camera store.
Right.
But she, they hired her, and then she actually bought the business from them, I think. But I'm kind of jealous because, I sell photography classes, but she's just got a steady stream of new customers because they buy a camera, they take her classes, So you've got the same gig.
Right. One of the things we do, it's been very successful besides our general classes that we do, which a lot of other stores do. We also, one of the big things that we do is we do one-on-one classes as well. So if a customer buys a camera, they pay for it, but they pay for the class. We don't actually give give the class away, but they pay $75 for 1 hour, and they can come to us, and it's their hour. to do whatever they want to learn. We teach them.
That's the same thing we do. Same
Yes.
price too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, isn't that
Although
fun?
we teach on the internet too. Like we'll do a private lesson through the internet. It's a little less money.
Right.
But
And the other big thing that we've done in the last couple of years has been a huge success. It immediately sells out within a day of us pushing together. Where we do photo walks. We're huge into photo walks, and we pick a different location. We've done things at a hockey ring. We've done things all different type of out of the box things, and we limited 15 people. And
you charge for that?
we charge for them. We charge anywhere between $150 to $200.
Wow,
for a photo walk.
a person?
Sometimes, yes, per person, yes.
And limited to 15, and you fill them up?
I take that back. It's anywhere between $80 to $150, depending on the photo walk.
Man.
But we do fill them up, yes. And there's people that have gone on 10 or 12 of our photo walks.
That's awesome. So it's obviously you have an instructor there to help them, or they wouldn't pay that kind of money.
Correct. Yeah. We believe in, and we sometimes bring in outside speakers to do that. But most of our education and most of the stuff we do with our own people. And the reason why we do it with our own people for the most part is because when we use our own people, they know they're there, their heart and soul is in there, and making sure the customer is taken care of. When we bring an outside person, doesn't mean they're not going to do a good job, but
they're not a hunts
person.
They're
not a hunts person. And we believe we want to make sure that the people attending the classes get the most experience and get the most value for their buck.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. I totally agree. All right. So what are some cool gadgets? What's hot? What's hot in the photography gadget world?
Well, it kind of changes every year.
Every minute?
Every minute, every year. It really, honestly, the gadgets, it really depends on what the speakers are talking about and, and what they push.
I want to stop you right there because you did something that I was very impressed with, by the way. Okay, so I was one of the speakers of this conference, and so I don't know if you did this with everybody, but I'm telling the audience now, Gary contacted me and said, what are you going to be speaking about? Because I want to make sure I have whatever whatever, like I was talking about the lens baby spark, and I was talking about, Rogue flash diffusers. And so Gary made sure that he had that stuff in stock at this trade show, which I thought that was brilliant idea.
Thank you.
Do you call everybody and do that?
In the last 2 or 3 years, I've gotten in the habit of whoever organizes it, finding out who the speaker are, making sure I get their contact information, their email addresses, and reaching out to every speaker, even if they're not a customer of mine, and asking what they're going to be talking about, what they're going to have. Because nothing more frustrating to me is when I spend all this money to go to a show, and somebody comes out to the show and say, the speaker just talked about this, do you have it? And I can tell them I don't have it. You can order from me, and they say, well, I'll just get it on. I'll just get it on.
Yeah, I know.
So I contact every speaker and find out exactly what they're going to talk about.
So smart.
And in some cases, if they need stuff for their classes, doing hands-on stuff, I'll actually offer the speakers sometimes loaner gear to use for their classes.
That's so nice. All right, so back to the gadgets.
Yes.
So how about on this trade show? What was a hot selling gadget?
On this trade show, the hot selling gadget was Wimley clamps. The clamps to
Guess
put
who
on.
bought one?
Right. That was hot
selling. So funny.
Tripods were pretty good.
Okay, hold on. I want to tell everybody what a Wimberley clamp is. Now, watch my show. I don't remember the episode with Roger Hammer because it might have been last week or the week before. I got a bad memory. Anyway, Roger Hammer is a naturalist and a flower photographer. And he brought the Wimberley clamp and showed us how he used it. And I was like, oh, I need one of those. So he clamps it onto a separate tripod. He doesn't want it as his camera tripod. And it's just a clamp, but they call it a plamp because it clamps onto a plant to hold it still. All right, so go ahead.
So we had color checker passports were very, very popular.
And those are to help you?
Those are to help you shoot like raw type thing. I don't know the exact thing on it, but it's a color checker passport. A lot of the speakers were talking about it in the program, so they were coming out asking if I had that. So that was really popular. The telephoto lenses, this show was popular. The Sigma 150-600, the Tamron 150-600. If you guys are on low budgets today, You know, there's a lot more affordable stuff out
How
there
much
now.
is that lens? Are you, oh, now they have two. Okay, the Sigma has a 150 to 600 contemporary
Yeah.
and 150 to 600 sport.
Sport, yes. The
Do you
contemporary.
carry both of those?
We do carry both of them. And I won't give you the list price on a contemporary is $1089. The list price on a sport is $2,000. But usually when I do a show, I usually save someone about $300 on a sport, and I save about $150 buying a contemporary at an event like a.
Well, you know, I impulse bought one of those. I impulse Roman.
Yes. Yeah.
He was doing a talk here in Naples, and he was just raving about that lens, and I'm in the audience. I don't need a long lens. I need a wide lens. You know what I bought? I bought a long lens. Because he just kept talking about it. It's so lightweight. It's not lightweight, by the way. It's heavy still, but it's not as heavy as other lenses that size, the contemporary.
Yeah.
But I really do like it. And so then, you know, we had the used Photo Pro guy here, so I sold him my 100 to 400 because I like the 150 to 600. So that's still a pretty popular. Sigma makes some really good lenses now, don't they?
They have. Actually, in the last 10 years, Tamron and Sigma has come a long, long way. If you asked me 10 years ago, do I recommend Tamron and Sigma? I'd probably say stick with Canon and Nikon. But especially the last 5-6 years, nobody could ever hesitate going wrong and buying a Sigma or a Tamron lens. They've made such great strides. They have so many different variety of lenses they didn't have out today. You'd be great for that. It's not going to make you a better photographer by buying a Nikon or Canon.
And that didn't. And as you said, that wasn't true 10 years ago or 6 years ago. They had some. The quality wasn't as good as it is now.
Right.
All right. What else? What's another hot gadget or hot? What's hot?
Well, lately it's been a lot of hot in the last year or so. LED lights have become very, very popular.
Oh yes, I have noticed that because I might have a few too many of those too.
So that's been hot.
And the LED lights come all kinds of ways. You can put them in your hot shoe. And you were showing me one that, you know, turns up and down so that you can make it bright or not so bright with a little, like a dimmer switch, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
And then what was that little one that was about this big that you had on your
that was
table?
That was a small little LED light. You know,
but that
just
didn't
like
have a. How do you just hold on to it?
Just hold on. It's more handheld.
Okay.
It's a handheld type
but they're
thing.
cheap, right?
They're cheap. They're about $50. Yes.
I mean, that's you know, when I was a videographer, which was not a long time. I only did it for a couple of years because I couldn't make enough money. And I'm not a technical person, so the video was hard for me. It hurt my brain. But anyway, the little lights that we used were, I forget, they were expensive. Those are good prices.
Yeah, so that's been...
And people use them for photography, though, not for video.
You can, some people, they use it for both, actually. They use it for photography and video. Mike Moltz, I'm not everybody's heard of Mike Moltz. He's a real specialized Mac photographer, and he uses small LED light to handle stuff to do all his macro stuff.
So, oh really, he does?
Yes, he does.
You know, he taught last year at this convention, and I missed him.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go. He seems like such a nice person.
He's the most down to earth, nicest person I've met in life.
He's from Michigan, like
He's from
me.
Michigan, exactly, right? Yeah. But he has such a great gadget type thing, a great following, and all he does, he sticks to what he knows best, and all he teaches is macro photography. He doesn't get into any other stuff. He just does macro.
Specializes.
And macro photography. So.
It's interesting because, you know, we've had that talk with other photographers on the show. Is it better to specialize or is it better to diversify and be a generalist? And there's no consensus. Now, when I started, it was better to specialize, but I did specialize, but now I'm a general photographer because the times changed, and so I changed with them. Like you say, you got to change with the times.
Correct.
So, but some people are still really making it, having a niche. So.
I think you have to have a niche today and stuff like that. It just really depends on what you do, but I say 99% of the time you really have to have a niche. You have to be diversified. If you're going to make it in this stage and age, you have to be diversified.
It seems like that way
maybe
for
once
me.
or twice, maybe a few things, but you know, in general, there might be a few things where you can stick, you know, you stick to what you want to go, but in majority today, you have to be diversified to be successful in I think in any industry.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, so now what's this thing? Where's Gary? What's that?
So I developed a couple of years ago. I developed a blog. Everybody kept asking me, where you are nest, where you go nest. So I decided to develop a newsletter and feature some of my hot shows or some of my most popular events that I do around the country, and let people know about the different type of events I do. So if they want to come to the event, or if they want to know where I am, or if I don't, I always get back to my customers right away. But if they for some reason I don't get back to them for some reason, they usually know I'm away traveling, and they know I'll get back to them when I'm back traveling.
Maybe they want to see you
or
when
they
you're in your area.
Yeah.
Now, how many trade shows do you personally?
Me personally, I probably do close to 35 to 40 a year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's from local shows to regional shows to national shows. And,
wow. You ever do anything international?
I have not. I'd love to do it, but maybe someday.
It's probably not. It's probably not.
It's probably not
worth it
cost
to
effective.
do the overnight shipping
Right.
and
Right.
I mean overseas shipping.
But
Okay.
I really enjoy traveling. I really enjoy.
See?
I love going out, meeting people, meeting new photographers, seeing my photographers that I call all the time or email all the time or talk to. It's love to just go talk to them, connect with them. When I'm out of the office, I mean, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of work, and you know, but for me, it may sound a little strange, but it's kind of like a vacation for me that I'm on the road. But I love the traveling, I love talking to people, and it's just a different type of environment out on the road than going to the office and doing my ordinary thing.
Yeah.
So.
You know, my son he loves to travel. He loves to tour. He's been touring as a musician for 12 years. And he's not sick of it. He loves it. That's
I just
like
go
you.
out. I go out to shows. I come back, and I feel so elevated, and I try to bring back things that I've learned and bring it back into the office and try to incorporate. If I can find one, my goal is to find one new thing at every show I go to and try to bring back that thing and incorporate that into my daily business.
You're a very goal-oriented person. I can tell.
Yes.
Holy cow! So so you've been to pretty much every photo convention there is.
For the most part, yes. I don't. To tell you the truth, I do. I believe, especially in more the smaller shows and the more specialty shows, I typically don't do like a big show like a WPPI or a PPA because it's too big of a show. It's too big of a show. It's too expensive.
Oh, yeah, they probably charge
they charge
fortune.
a lot.
I didn't think about that.
A lot of these people are so inundated. When they go back home, they don't even remember who they talked to, what they learned, what type of thing. They go back and
oh my God, that's so true.
And they go back and they just go back and they forget everything they did and they just go back.
You know, it's funny you said that because I just remember the last time I was at, I forget which one, WPPI or PPA, and I just dumped all the stuff on the bed in the hotel room. I'm like, oh my God, look at all this stuff. And you're right, I didn't even remember who was who or what was what or anything. There was just too much stuff. So
I do also the smallest shows for me are, even 100, 150 people. If the show is structured right and the trade show is structured right and there's good speakers and there's enough time for breakers, I'll go out and fly across country.
Enough time for what?
For vendors.
Oh, the breaks between the
yes.
speakers.
Yes.
Ah,
So
see, I'm just listening to how you qualify a convention.
Yeah, I'll go out across the country, even California, wherever it is, for 150 people, as long as I know there's good speakers and and time for me to talk to people. For me, that's much more effective, and for me doing that than going out and seeing 6,000 people. Because for me, quality. For me, what I look for is quality rather than quantity. And when I do a small show, I know when I leave that show, everybody in that convention knows who I am, whether they like me or hate me. I've made an impression on everybody. Most people, and most time when I leave, 90% of people I've made an impression on love me.
I think it's more than 90%.
90%. But it feels good when I leave. It feels good when I leave. I've talked to every single person there, and they all know who Hunts is. I can't do that at a big show.
Wow, that's such a good point. And then because we don't have local camera stores, then they've got that personal connection with Hunts, which makes them more loyal, and it's a win-win because they get the customer service, you get the customer. So all right, so what's the best photo convention for, all right, let's start with an easy one, birding.
Birding, I think some of the top birding festival events I do is Bosque del Pasque in New
And that's in
Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yep.
And that's, do you know what month?
That's in November. It's always a week before Thanksgiving.
Okay. And that's when all the
That's all the
sandhill
cranes and geese is that. Yes. If you've never been to Bosque,
I've never been, but it sounds fun.
And you do bird photography, you need to get out there. Think about waking up at 6:30 in the morning and getting your spot, getting your picture, getting your camera, everything set, and then at 7:15 seeing 10,000 birds fly off.
That's amazing.
That's the image.
I've seen the pictures, like, oh my! And you know, when I drove my son to California this year, we stopped. I went in southern New Mexico and in northern New Mexico, and I fell in love with New Mexico. I'd never been there before. It's awesome there.
Right.
Do you take time off?
It depends on the show that I do.
Like, say you're here in sunny, beautiful Florida. It's March, so it's probably pretty cold up there in Massachusetts. Do you take a day off and go to the beach?
Not usually, no. Usually when I do a show, it's all business. Every now and then.
Do you go sightseeing?
Not usually, no. Every now and then I do, but majority of shows, no. I'd go and do the show, and go out sometimes at night with photographers or vendors, and then go back to
all work and no play, Gary.
I know. I know. It's
you ought to make a goal, since you're a goal-oriented guy. Every fourth trade show, I'm going to take a day and sightsee.
It's a good goal.
You know?
Yeah.
I try to do that with my son. My son is getting a little better because he's like you. He's traveling all the time, but he just works. And he loves his job, but still, you're in Paris. Go see something, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so Bosque
del Pasque, you have the Florida Birding Festival coming.
And that's coming up soon.
That's St. Augustine.
In April, right?
In April, yep. The other event that I do is Gav's in Texas. It's called Feather Fest. And
Feather Fest?
Feather Fest.
Oh, feather.
Yes.
It's that
Massachusetts. Yeah.
I was like, feather? Fetish? What? No, I'm just kidding.
I know. So you have that, and then you
Feather
have
Fest. I never heard of that one.
Yeah, that's in Texas. It's just small, about 500-600 people, but
That's a nice size, though. I mean, how big do you need it?
You don't need it big.
You just need to. If you had 8 good speakers or 6 good speakers and saw each of those, that would be a full convention for a photographer.
Correct.
So, I mean, how big do you need it, right?
And then the other one you have is it's in Space Coast Birding Festival, and that's in the other side near Orlando. And that's the last week in January.
The last week in January.
Yep. So.
Okay.
There's other birding festivals. Those are the ones that I do that have been very, very crucial for my business, and it's helped me a lot and expand in the birding market.
Now, what about for the portrait and wedding photographers?
So the portrait photography and wedding photography. Wedding photography, you have PPA, National PPA, which
imaging,
which is by the way. Has one of the best insurance if you want to have one of the best insurers as an association.
You know what? I will never let my PPA. When I first joined PPA as a beginning photographer, I dropped it after a couple of years because it's expensive. I mean, it's what, $350 a year or something. But then I picked, I started, because I've had my career like this, right? So then I picked it back up, and thank God, because I actually needed to use, they have, what do you call, I can't remember what it's called, but where you can call a free lawyer, because I had a problem customer, or like a crazy person, really, truly was crazy too. But anyway, I had to use the lawyer, and it was free, which was great. And then they give you $15,000 worth of equipment insurance included in that $350 a year. PPA is a great organization, lots of education, but the imaging is a huge conference. So that's.
Yep.
But you do that?
I do not do that.
Oh, you don't do that?
No, I do not do PPA. I've done it in the past.
WPPI is the same thing. It's a huge conference.
Yeah. So those are the two. I don't do. I've done.
Do they have smaller ones though for portrait and wedding photographers?
They do have smaller ones. They're the state shows. The state shows, but
you don't do any of them.
I don't do any of them. They used to be. They used to be really big. I mean, they've all dwindled. Their prices are a little bit higher, and I've really not gotten much. Out back in business from doing a lot of the state shows.
It's interesting you say that, because I went to the Florida Professional Photographers Convention every Orlando for every August in Orlando. I skipped a whole word. It was every August in Orlando. And, you know, Orlando's a four-hour drive from me. And I got a lot out of it. In fact, some of this Hanson Fong, I saw him speak, and, you know, really good speakers. And then they just started, I don't know, the vendors, they quit getting the vendors, and is Midwest still in business?
The Midwest is still in business, but they cut back on that.
Because they were always there, and they're like, we're not getting enough out of it, we're not coming, so the trade show got crappy. Because some of us used to just, and I used to go to the whole convention, but some people I knew used to drive all the way from Naples in one day, go to the trade show, and go back. But the trade show got bad, and I don't know what's going on with it now. It just doesn't seem like there's, except for those two big conventions, it doesn't seem like there's a lot going on for the wedding and portrait.
No, they haven't. Really hasn't been a lot going on. I mean, they have the shows. They're you know, they have the conferences and the conventions, but they've had a really hard time getting vendors over the years, just because they're smaller. They've dropped.
Cheapskate photographers compared
they
to
dropped,
that.
and they're not as loyal to some of the other associations that I do. You know.
So what other kind of conventions are there?
So other RC, other conventions, the RC I do a lot with camera clubs. Camera clubs are a big part of my business.
Which is what we're doing right here.
Exactly, yes.
This is the Florida Camera Club Council. So it's the statewide organization for the Florida Camera Clubs.
Council, yes. So Florida Camera Council, I just got off Florida Camera Club Council. It was like it was a really strong event for me this year.
Yay.
You know, it was people were in a buying mood.
And we want you to
come back.
Stuff,
want to come back. You guys were all great to work with. You know, you really made my ease and my move in and stuff like that. You were just really enjoyable to work with, and you know, and really catered towards me, and you know, and that means a lot to me.
We're fun in
Florida.
Right,
you know. That's what I'm all about. You know, I cater to you, and you cater to me. That's what makes.
You're
that's
really
what makes
good to me. I can tell you that, and I appreciate it.
So
what about other states?
Clubs, so other states.
Other states. Anyone as good as Florida?
Anyone as good as Florida? You have, I mean, obviously in my backyard, you have NEGC, who's been New England Camera Club Council.
Oh, yeah.
Which has been around
it was
a long,
so funny.
long time.
I told you this story earlier. I was walking, the lady who helped me with my talk, you know, they assigned us a volunteer for each speaker. So I finished my speech. And then we were walking back with all my gear, and she starts, oh, where I'm from in New York, England, we have this great conference. This one reminds me of it. And then I go to your booth, and you've got a flyer for it. What's it called? The
New England Camera Club Council. This year is going to be their 72th year anniversary.
72 years.
Yes.
That blows my mind.
They have it at the same place every year. It's
and where is it?
It's at UMass Amherst. It's a college in Western Mass.
Okay.
So that. Some of the other concerts that I go to is Southwest Michigan Camera Club Council. That's in Holland, Michigan, and that's in July.
Oh, I'm on their mailing list.
In
fact, I emailed them. Nobody ever responded. I said, hey, if you're looking for another speaker, that was a while ago. They never responded because I'm from Michigan, right? And it would have just been very convenient that time because I'm on my way, actually I'm on my way to Italy, and I was going to go via Michigan. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
it does to me. It does to me because I want to go see my family, and then I thought I'll go see my family for a little while and then head over to Italy. And so then I'm like, oh, I could maybe stop in there, but they didn't respond. They didn't respond.
Well, good to know. You know I have a good contact over there.
No, I got a contact,
so now I'll know you're interested. So 2018,
I can speak with a Michigan accent.
Exactly. But I've done conferences all around. I've done a lot. I've covered pretty much all the councils around the country. I've done I've done Gulf States Camera Club Council. I've done Northwest Camera Club Council. I've done Twin City Camera Club Council. All the councils of camera clubs around the country.
And so they put on nice conventions like this one. I mean, they all do a pretty good job.
I would say they do a good job. There's some ones that do better jobs than others.
Well, that makes
but
sense.
Some of that, but and there's you know, the tenants. But for me, I picked up a lot of good customers that buy from me now throughout the year because I've gone out there and gone and supported the conference and supported the councils. They remember that, and they now when they need stuff, they call me because I've.
How do you remember all these people you meet?
So I mean, I pretty much covered all. If there's a camera club council that's out there in one way or fashion, I've covered it.
Oh wow, that's so cool. All right, now what about any other conventions? Anything weird? Or?
So unique, different. There's a couple different conferences in the last couple of years that I've kind of, people have taken off. One is the Mike Motes. This is going to be his 4th year doing it.
He does his own conference?
He does his own conference. It's called the Mike Motes Macro Photography Conference, and it's strictly on macro photography. And
the whole weekend? Is it a weekend?
Whole weekend,
I assume
yep.
it's a weekend?
Weekend.
The whole thing just macro?
Yep.
My gosh.
He limits it to 100 people. He charges $200 for the weekend. He brings, he invites himself plus 4 other photographers to talk about macro photography and their style and what they do. And then in the middle of the day, he has like 100 different tables set up of all different type of macro stuff between whatever you name it, slingsies, flowers, whatever.
Fun.
And just people just go out and just shoot and do stuff like that. And the amazing part about this thing is, I mean, the last 3 years it was Massachusetts, and he had 18 people. He covered from 18 different states that came to his photography conference.
He does it in Massachusetts?
Yes, but he had people from 18 different states around the country.
But he's from Michigan.
He is.
Why does he do it in Massachusetts?
He did it to please me, so I didn't have to travel as far.
Really?
But he's done it for 3 years, and now he's moving it to Ohio in next year.
It's a little, that's still closer to him. Still, why Ohio when he lives in Michigan? I wonder.
It really has to do with what he does and the type of macro photography he does, and to put on a conference, he needs to find a place that can hold this, that has a square footage.
All the stuff
all
that
the
he
stuff, and
puts
there's not
out.
many hotels around the country that can do that. So
that especially if you're in Massachusetts, it's going to cost a lot more than Ohio, probably, right?
Yeah.
I would imagine. I mean, I don't know, but it just seems like things are more expensive up your way.
Could be a little. I don't know the exact thing, but it could be a little more expensive.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Wild guess.
Well, he's had photographers. He's invited photographers in to teach his photographers, from Tony Sweet to John Barkley to John and Bob Gerlach, and all different type of people who do macro photography.
Wow.
So that has been a very successful event for me, and
he does it every year.
Does it every year.
Awesome.
Hands-on things.
People love hands-on.
Love it. Yeah. He has his favorite tripod that he talks about, and last year at this conference he was talking about this tripod for $120, and I sold 43 tripods.
43?
Yes, out of 100 people.
Oh my God!
Yes.
No wonder you're going back there every time.
Right.
Oh my gosh! And then, of course, do you get the email of every customer you have?
Some conferences are give that to me, and some conferences, as much as they love me, some conferences are very private. They'd love to give it to me.
But you have a sign-in sheet.
I do have. I have a
sign-up
sheet.
Yeah.
Yes. So I've gotten to have it every show I go to. I ask them if they want to be on my email list.
Yeah. Well, you know what I did this year, right?
Yes.
I bought gift certificates.
Yes.
And I said, here, sign up for my mailing list, and I'll give you a gift certificate to Hunt's.
And did it help?
Yeah, well, as you know, I was too busy to man my own booth, but it looked, I had a big fishbowl, and it looked pretty full, so I think people were signing up. So
some other conferences in the last couple of years that have been different, unique, and not your average conference. I do in a conference, and I've developed a good relationship with this guy named Chris Smith. He does a conference called Out of Chicago. And basically his conference is, he has presenters that come in and talk about different type of photography, landscape, macro, whatever, all different type of subjects. But on top of that, he does photo walks. So every presenter that comes and teaches is part of their contract is to lead a photo walk. So they do photo walks in the middle of the day, at night, and it's all around Chicago, and they do different type of photo walks. And then the vendors are there. Canon, Nikon, Sigma, Panasonic, and they're all loaning out gear to photographers to try and use while they go on their photo walk.
Wow, that sounds fun too.
So he gets 400. Last year he got 450 people. I was the exclusive retailer for that show.
Wow.
And this year he's taking that concept and going to Acadia, and he's going to be doing out of Acadia in October. He's limited to 100 people, and he just made it live. He just made it live maybe about a couple months ago, and he already has 73 people signed up for it.
Oh my goodness!
He's bringing in some of the top photographers in the country that know Acadia very well. Same type of concept. We're gonna do shooting in Acadia, do speakers in the afternoon, and it's gonna be like a 5-day conference. If you want to know more about
5 days.
5 days. Yes.
Wow.
The vendors will only be there 2 days, but the other 3 days will be shooting and stuff like that.
And that's what's his name?
His name is Chris Smith.
Oh, that's too common to find, though.
He also has a podcast show, and you just look up, you Google Out of Chicago. You check
Out of Chicago. Okay.
You Google, and all his different events are up there. Great guy.
That's fascinating.
Young enthusiast. He just retired from being a teacher, and he's doing now photography full time. And
that's awesome.
So I've just developed a great relationship with him, and now I'm like one of his main suppliers for that.
Any other ones?
The only other one that I can think of that's different and unique, she's trying for the first time, is a creative photography conference, and she's going to talk about textures, iPhone photography, different type of.
Wow, that's different.
Yeah. And she's bringing in guys like Tony Sweet, a couple local photographers, but she's going to have it in May. There's no limit, but it's a different type of thing.
Yeah, where's that?
It's going to be in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
So those are different, unique conferences, not your average conference. They're different, unique, and I've been trying to find more of those type of conferences to go to because they're specialized, they're targeted.
It sounds like a great idea. You're giving me ideas.
Yeah, you could develop your own conference.
I got a whole idea brewing around in this brain right now.
Yeah. So those are some different.
Joe, you have spare time, right?
So those are some different, unique conferences that I've started to get involved in the last couple of years, and I'm always looking for new conferences to develop.
I'm learning so much. I mean, there's so many cool things to do as a photographer nowadays, you know? Well, do you have any advice for just like a hobbyist photographer? I mean, how do they know what equipment to buy to get started and things like that? I mean, will your people help them with that?
Yes, we will. We basically, when someone comes in the store, we ask them the couple of things our salespeople ask them is before they buy a camera. We ask them what their budget is, what they're looking to spend, what type of photography they're looking to do, whether they're looking to travel, they're looking to nature. We qualify the customer and ask them exactly what they're looking to do, and based on what the customer tells us back, we suggest equipment based on what they're telling us. So we don't just someone comes say they want to buy a camera, and our customer will just automatically pick out a Nikon or a Canon or a Tamron,
right.
And we sell them what their needs are, and not what we want to push.
Which is nice, and that's another reason you have the loyal customers. I got another question about equipment, because one of the trends that I'm seeing, people are asking me, I want to travel, I don't want to carry all this heavy equipment, what do you suggest? Do you have suggestions?
The trend right now is, people going lighter. Mirrorless is a really, really big thing.
But like the full-frame mirrorless Sony is just as heavy as a DSLR, isn't it?
It is, but Sony is real popular, but some of the smaller mirrorless cameras out there that have really become popular is the Fuji new X-T2.
Oh, yeah.
The Panasonic GX8 or G85 now.
Okay.
And then for Olympus, the new Olympus OMD has become very, very popular.
Now, are those where you can change lenses?
Change lenses, yes. I think in the last couple of years, why mirrorless has kind of exploded is because now these manufacturers are coming out with lenses now with more variety. If you were a wildlife photographer, bird photography, 3 years ago they didn't have the equipment to do that. Okay. Now Panasonic has the 100-400, Olympus has the 300 f4, Fuji has the 100-400. They have the converters.
But aren't they as heavy as?
No, they're lighter.
And are they good lenses?
They're very good lenses. I've heard people that have it that swear by it.
So can you say that? Do you have a favorite mirrorless?
Do I have a favorite? No, I don't have a favorite mirror. Me personally, I don't have a favorite mirrorless cameras, but I know a lot of photographers that have had all those those type of things, and they've given me such great reports. That's been feedback from it.
Okay.
So, I mean, the number one question that I get asked at every show is, I'm looking to buy a mirrorless camera. What should I buy? And I was having a conversation with Joe today, and for next year at the conference, I think one of the things that you should add to your conference is a presentation on mirrorless cameras, because people ask me, they want to be educated. They want to buy a mirrorless, but they want to be educated, and they don't know what.
Would Hunts do that workshop?
We could potentially do it, or I could find someone to do it, but it would be
Yeah, that
You know.
that might be interesting
I've been
too.
trying to, at all the conferences I've been going to, I've been trying to add that to tell people at all conferences to add
Yeah,
that
because
topic.
you're right. People do
Yeah.
ask about it a lot.
We actually do. I've actually, at least in my local backyards, because it's easier to do. I have the person to do it.
Of course.
But I've gone to camera clubs, and I've actually put on a presentation on mirrorless cameras to the camera club, and I actually invite I invite the vendors, the Panasonic, the Fujis, the Olympus, whoever wants to come, and they actually come to the conference, come to the camera club while we speak, and I give the people before the meeting starts, they can touch, feel the different cameras, and then we have the meeting,
wow.
and then after the meeting, they're there to answer questions.
And sell their
And sell their
cameras.
cameras, yes.
I'm sure
And
they're
it's-
going to be buying the cameras after they
And
learn about
it's
them.
been a big attraction, and the president of different camera clubs has said to me after the thing, this is one of the best programs that we've ever had.
Oh my
Thank you for lining this up. This is very
gosh.
valuable. I heard so many feedback from the members that they loved it.
Awesome.
So we've actually developed some other programs based on camera clubs too, on printing.
That you give to the local camera
the local
clubs, though,
camera club,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
And I invite the different manufacturers based on the program that we do to be there, so they can
Which
feel
is
in touch.
another service
Yeah.
that you give as
Right.
hunts.
Yeah.
Except for you don't give it to us down here in Florida. It's just if you live up that way.
Right. I have to open up a camera store in Florida.
We don't have one. Did you hear?
I know.
I mean, there are camera stores in Florida. We have one in Bradenton, Johnson Photo Imaging.
A couple of years ago, I went back and told my brother that I wanted to open up a camera store in Florida. He said, if you move to Florida, you can run it.
Oh, he's trying to get rid of you.
Yeah. So I don't know if I can do that.
I say, what's next? Where are you going now? What's after this?
So after this, I'm doing a couple local events and PPA events in my backyard in Connecticut and in Maine. So that's this coming
Now,
weekend.
what kind of PPA, local PPA? events?
So this,
Oh, you mean for the local guild?
Yeah, local guild.
okay.
Yeah, I still support my local chapters just because it's important. It's important to be there.
Of
It's important to be there.
course.
So I still very support them and go to the trade shows and
Okay.
stuff like that. So I got that coming up, and then I have I do a big event in Buffalo, New York. It's called Can-Am Expo.
Can-Am
Expo. Yes.
Expo.
And actually, this year they're doing something a little bit different to try to get more people. Is they're actually combining it with because their PPA chapter has really struggled in getting people to come to the thing. They're actually combining the conference, and the local PPA chapter is not doing a conference, and they're joining with this camera club. So they're doing a joint conference.
And it's the local camera club, like this,
local
like this,
thing. Yes, made
with
up-
the PPA
the
guild.
Yes. So they hope.
I wonder if we should do that because our guild, I think it went out of business or whatever.
They have a very diverse. They've really taken it off. They have diversified things. So they have they do talks on wedding photography, portrait photography, travel photography, and they actually do it in tracks. So
so
and
here's
type
your
of thing.
wedding track. Here's your
Yeah. And this guy took it over a couple years ago when I was doing it before this guy took it over, and it was 200 people maybe going to it. And this guy took it over. His name is Doug Hanskate, and he's taken it from a 200 conference now to almost a 500 people conference.
Oh wow!
It's very reasonable price for vendors to attend, and people really have a really good time.
And when is that? That's coming up.
That's coming up the last week in March.
Okay. Oh gosh.
Yes.
So it's right around the
Yes,
corner.
Yes.
Actually, this might not even air. I think this is going to air in April. So.
Right. So we have that, and then we have from there I do my local affiliate PPA school called NEEP, which is every PPA has their school.
Right.
So I'm involved. Last year was my first year as a sponsor for it. I used to do it a long time ago, but I came back. So I'm doing that. So I got NEEP, and then I go to Texas for Feather Fest, and then I come back the last week in April for St. Augustine. So that's what I got coming up.
Wow. Oh my God. I don't know how you keep up with it. I'll tell you, I'm tired just listening to you.
Yeah.
Now, let me just ask you one more thing because we got to wrap it up. But do you ship all your stuff?
We do ship all our
How
stuff
do you
down
ship
there.
it?
We
Like
ship
UPS
we ship
or
everything
trucking
we ship everything by UPS.
And wow, that sounds expensive. But I guess it's less expensive than having a retail camera store in every city, right?
Yes, it is. It's definitely less expensive that way. But you know, when I look at a show, I just want to cover my costs. I mean, I'd love to make money at a show, and obviously that's the goal. But I don't come back and look at a show and say, if I didn't make money, I'm not going to do it. What I examine whether a show is good or not is I look at if they become repeat customers. Okay. I want to sell the shows and I want to think, but I don't want show customers. I want repeat customers. And if I'm getting repeat customers from a show, then I know the show's successful. And if I know the show's successful and I can getting repeat customers on a regular basis,
you'll be back.
I'll be back, and then I could support you guys more and give you more sponsorship.
Well, we appreciate your support here.
Right. But that's what I look at in successful, and how much and what I budget for a show and how much I give to a show is based on long-term relationship.
Okay, awesome. All right. So what's your website?
Our website is huntsphotoandvideo.com.
Huntsphoto and
video.com.
So you got the and in there.
Yes. Well, you could probably do huntsphotoandvideo.com. Huntsphotovideo.com.
Either one. They both probably go the same place. Like my son's with his hot guy with glasses.
Right. Yeah. We also have a Facebook page. We're starting to do more of Instagram. We're starting to do more of social media. So
check you out. We'll put all those links. We have a page for the show notes for today's show. Yeah. So all your links will be on the show notes for today's show.
And anybody wants to reach out to me, my email address is digitalguygary@wbhunt.com. I'm very thorough. I answer all my emails on a timely fashion. Don't be surprised if you email me that you get an email from me at 2:30 in the morning. But I'm very responsive. So if you email, you have any questions, you're listening, you have any questions, fire away, and I will get back to you. If I don't know the answer, I will find the answer and get back to you with the answer.
And I believe it because you're doing it with me. He always answers his email, and I love that.
So I'm available. I'm free. Contact me. I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on the Understand Photography Show. Again, everything we talked about, including the links, is going to be, everything is, I thought I did some bad grammar there. Everything's going to be on the understandphotography.com website in the show notes. Now, tune in here next week at 4 o'clock on Friday to the Understand Photography Facebook page. That's facebook.com/understandphotography. So tune in at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for the Understand Photography Show if you want to watch us live. But remember, after the show airs, we put it on YouTube so you can go back and watch past episodes. And then we also turn it into a podcast so that you can listen to it in the car. So that's on iTunes. Just do a search on the Understand Photography Show, and we will come up. I'm Peggy Farren. Thank you so much for watching us, and we'll see you next week.
Get up!